Paul Brown said to me, son, act like you've been there before. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I just barely got on the field. I hadn't been there before. So
I'm glad to be part of that trend. You know, sun's out, guns out.
How about Isaac Curtis on one side, Charlie Joyner on the other side? A lot of quarterbacks were very envious that I had those two weapons to throw to. But
now, wait a minute. Is it fair that Pat McAnally is still the sexiest guy on our team? Is that?
You got me there. You got me good.
Donald, how you gonna be in that video and not represent with a chain? Your tango, man. I got mine on. I'm ready to go.
Oh, that's great. That's priceless.
There are two guys that I think it's a travesty that are not in that Hall of Fame.
Ken Riley and Ken Anderson. Yeah, sure.
Let's put the backdrop on, Jamie. See if Marissa's okay with it.
Yeah, I got her backdrop. Starting the Canadian fan club up here for you.
That is so funny.
My last touchdown, and that's what Joe Burrow's going to end up like if they don't start protecting his ass. It's going to be the next David Klingler from David Klingler.
There's no Spanish speaking people here, very few. So we, fast forward, we go to the Super Bowl in Miami, and the word was the Bengals have two big Mexican offensive linemen. They don't know how to speak Spanish. So I got down there and started doing these interviews in Spanish, and they're like, "Wait, we heard you don't speak Spanish."
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? But I got on the plane one day in an all red Suge Knight suit. And boy, Joe Walters and the lineman, they destroyed me. I thought for sure I was so clean. I had some gaiters on, all red suit on. I was Suge Knight. They roasted me.
The head coach was the really the pain in the butt. The Jerry Glenn, he would thought he was. If you didn't know who he was, he walked out there like he owned his state. And I always say, if I could get a chance to hit him on the sideline, I would.
I'm tackling your ass, Pete. I'm shoestring low on you.
But I got to tell you, you would have been stepped on, son. You would have had cleats everywhere.
Well, I'm proud to be a Bengal. Yes, I'm proud to be a Bengal. Again, I got nothing from you guys.
Well, hello, everyone. Here we are, first place, AFC North champions, and what a glorious day we had on Sunday at PBS, Tom.
The best, I can remember all of us in August saying, wouldn't it be great to be in the middle of the fight for it in December, even with that tough schedule. And, wow, knocking off the mighty Chiefs, the favorites to go to the Super Bowl again, just like they did in 2003. Actually, the Chiefs have never won in PBS, but this group is maybe as fun a Bengal team to root for as our two Super Bowl teams. And these guys are special. They've earned it between their talent and their resilience. It's fantastic. And I'm proud to be a Bengal fan. Yes, I am, Pat McAnally.
I know, James, you said you were saving your tears for the playoff win, but I wept like a baby. And I'm going to lie. It was just like the most emotional thing to finally not only just get to the playoff. I mean, we've obviously been to the playoffs, but to win the AFC North. And tell me, like, you guys were obviously there. That last minute was the craziest 1 minute of football I've ever seen in my life. That was absolutely insane. To go for it, to not get it, to go for it again, to not get it. Like, it's crazy.
Question for
Absolutely
you both.
crazy.
Was anybody, Jamie from Canada, either screaming at the TV, kick the field goal? James, in the opposite end zone for me, were you screaming kick the field goal, or were you full board go for it?
So it was funny. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
No, I was apparently in the minority. I was happy with the field goal and kick it off and give it to Patrick with no timeouts left. But talking to a lot of Bengals fans after, they liked what Zach did, and obviously the end result certainly worked out. So maybe Coach James would have made the wrong decision there. How about you, Jamie?
I'm a little torn because you also know I'm a degenerate gambler. I had $100 on Burrow getting a touchdown, which would have paid $1,000. And to watch him tuck the ball into his stomach to not score kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. But no, I don't know. I think going for it and not getting it, I would have been chicken and I would have kicked the field goal. But I've harped on Zach Taylor's play calling ability a few times, but that last minute was that makes up for any of the bad calls that I thought he made before.
Well, we don't quibble about how we got there because the Bengals are there, and congratulations to the guys. They played their tails off. One little note that nobody is talking about, that pass to Joe Mixon, he did make it in. The ball was clearly on the goal line. That was a touchdown. And with no timeouts, they didn't have time to replay it properly, but that was a touchdown. If we had a timeout, probably would have taken it and replayed it. But certainly exciting, one for the memories and the good memories. I don't think we're going to stop with Sunday.
Not at all. And we'd be remiss here. Obviously, we're missing our fearless leader. He is downtown at a dinner trying to get done to join us. So once he finishes dinner, I'm drinking with there. So yeah, I didn't lie.
No.
Maybe he's not coming in.
Watching.
He's going to try to down. Okay. So there he is. He's watching. He's downtown. So we're going to do our best. It's good to have Jamie back this week. He took last week off because of, what are you going to blame that on? Migraine?
I had the worst migraine I've ever had in my life. So I don't envy anyone that gets those. It was insane.
Yeah. So it's good to have you back. And we do have the graphic here. And
it is.
How cool is that? So I think a lot of us, I won't say trepidation, but didn't want to have to go into Cleveland this week and, have to win that game. So to ice it and lock it up and have a week to relax. Certainly, COVID's going around the NFL. We can get all that out of our system this week. And I'm on the team of wrap everybody in bubble wrap and don't play him this week. And we obviously know Baker Mayfield's not playing this week. Going to go ahead and get his surgery. We do still have a chance for that number 1 slot, which would be nice to get that by. But to have that first home playoff game at PBS, we're excited. And kudos to the fans. They were loud, they were proud, and the place was packed despite the cold weather. I think it was the coldest weather game of the year, and you guys and gals were loud. So we promised our next guest last minute. He agreed to come on. It's been a big week for him. We remember back to June when we did the Jungle to the Hall rally. It seems like just yesterday, but so much has transpired in those last 7 to 8 months, and we finally got some good news. So Tom, if you want to bring on our next guest, and man, special night having him on once again.
The great 71, last year a semifinalist, this year a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And if justice is done, we'll all be going up next summer, but not in June, and that'll be in August to watch him get his gold jacket. So, Jamie, can you bring him on?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to say the name. I guess everyone already knows who it is.
Like that, no, we all know who Willie Anderson is. So, Willie, congratulations on taking that next step. You're in the red zone, and if justice is done in February, you'll be announced to be going in. Congratulations.
You guys can hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, because I'm having some technical difficulties at home, my computer and my phones. I've been sick the last 5-6 days, man, dealing with this COVID stuff. So you guys got to bear with me.
No, you're good. You're good. So after you got the announcement, we all saw how on social media how you reacted to it, and I will say, a lot of us certainly we can't feel what you're feeling, but have the same emotions. We're all backing you. We all know you deserve to be there. Have you heard from any of your former teammates now that you're a semifinalist?
Yeah, guys been calling me, all week. Happy for me, we're on a group text. I created a group text about a year ago. A lot of the guys from the 90s and 2000s all together. So guys are very happy. Just being a part of the whole situation. we're all ecstatic, just like my family is. And I did a Zoom call today with Clark Judge, one of the voters you guys had on last week. I did an interview with him and another guy today. And I told him, I said, the people I was most happy for were guys like you all, people who I've met the last 2 years through social media, primarily through, Twitter and the things you guys have been doing for myself and plenty of other ex-Bengal guys. I was happy for you guys to be able to hear that, to hear my name called as a finalist and to see some of the work you guys have been doing. And, that was a big thing to me because I'm very appreciative of what you all have been doing for me.
Yeah, you've earned it.
Earned it.
You've earned it
100%.
without question. So, but in addition to the teammates you talked to, you've had so many of your peers. Michael Strahan gave that great long endorsement for you. Warren Sapp's been very, very verbal. That not just were you the best right tackle of your era, clearly, but the best lineman period of your era. Have you heard from any of them?
Yeah, Sapp hit me joking with me on Twitter, told me to quit crying. But I told him, I said, man, Sapp, if I was crying, man, you got to understand, like those are tears of joy, pain from a lot of Bengal people like myself, Bengal fans, and to know that things are not that easy for us, up in Cincinnati. So those are tears of joy, of hard work of myself and so many other people. And I told him, he's been so grateful in helping me out and saying what he's been saying, because him nor Michael Strahan, neither had to say what they said for me. You know what I mean? So I'm appreciative of it, of so many ex-guys I played against speaking up on my behalf, and coaches, and so for the voters to see my career like this, I'm very grateful of it.
Well, you mentioned the fans. We saw the turnout in June in Canton, and we have a lot tuning in right now. So we want to invite them to ask any questions that they might have. And Jamie, our producer there in the top right corner, will throw those up. But while the fans type those in, we're going to change gears real quick. And what'd you think of the game Sunday, Willie? Certainly exciting time for Bengals. Year 3 of Zach Taylor, first 2 years. There was a lot of house cleaning per se. A lot of his players coming in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the addition of Joe Burrow was huge. What's your thoughts on the big win on Sunday?
It definitely reminded me of 2005, man. I think 2005 was Marvin's third year, and we had been pushing the hump, 2 back-to-back 8-8 seasons. And finally, that third season, we got out of the hump and beat Pittsburgh, I think, 1 or 2 times, and beat a couple of teams that we normally have been beating over the years, and able to win the division in Detroit that weekend. The thing I like about them is, John Thornton called me, and we were joking. John Thornton, longtime Bengals defensive lineman, he said, man, remember we won it, Marvin told us, to not to celebrate in Detroit. And that was one thing we always hated, that, we always kind of regretted that we didn't celebrate, because winning the division, winning the AFC North is tough, man. Like, it's a tough ordeal. And to me, I know myself and John Thornton was talking, the biggest thing we enjoyed watching was those young guys celebrating in the locker room. That the locker room I've been in so many times, a stadium that I was there in the beginning when it first was built, and to see those young guys, doing the same things that we did in 2005 and enjoying themselves was a huge treat for myself. Watching Joe dance and watching guys smoke cigars, because they've earned it, man. And people have said, even myself, I had no idea at the beginning of the season that this season would be this magical. A lot more fans had more. I'm not gonna say hope for the team, because I had a bunch of hope. I didn't know they would be this explosive offensively and defensively. So to see these guys overcoming everything they've came, all the national hate they've come across, to see themselves enjoying that in the locker room, man, that was a great feeling for me to watch. No lie.
Certainly exciting. We're still riding the wave of excitement from last Sunday. We know we have the one game left this weekend in Cleveland, and there's been a lot of banter back and forth of, do you play your starters? Do you sit them? What's your thoughts on the momentum going into the postseason? How important is it? Okay.
Play. I was a player, and I remember vividly, we that year we played I think Kansas City the last game, and we played like crap. Like I'm talking about, we you know, just being young. No, I'm not saying I wasn't young. I was 30 years old, but being a young up and winning team, we didn't understand about momentum going into the playoffs. And you watched over the years, you watched the Patriots and the Colts. You know, one year the Colts decided not to play after they went undefeated, and that momentum it helps, man. Like people may think it don't, like, so maybe you don't play Joe that much, but the other guys and the linemen, the receivers, just to kind of get on that winning page, and have that competitive edge that they've had for the last several weeks. To keep that, I think, is an advantage.
All righty. I don't know what answer I was expecting, and certainly I think there's people on both ends of the spectrum, and value your opinion 100%, especially being there. Jamie, you got some fan questions for Willie?
Yeah, I got a couple here, Willie. We'll go with Augie here. Of all the former players who spoke up on your behalf for Hall of Fame, which one or ones got to you the most?
Well, man, in 1992, I think it was, I was a senior in high school down in Mobile, Alabama, and I was the #1 lineman in the country. I was the first lineman to win 6A Player of the Year in Alabama. Then Andre Smith came and won Mr. Football years later as a lineman. So it's a pretty big deal out of Mobile. And my senior year, a lot of HBCU schools, I was getting recruited everywhere. HBCU schools were asking me to come to their games and come to their schools, and I took down in Mobile. We have the Senior Bowl was played at, we used to be played at Lab Stadium. Well, there was a classic HBCU game played against Alabama State, I think it was, and Texas Southern. So during the game, I'm watching Texas Southern. I think Bama State, they invited me to the game. But during the game, Texas Southern, I watched the defensive end. I read the bio to say he was from Germany. Like he is, his parents were in the military. He was from Germany, and he destroyed Alabama State. Like he had like 4.5 sacks. To me, in my eyes, he was huge. So fast forward several years later, 97 is my second year in the league. We're playing the Giants, and I'm reading the, reading the bio of all the players I'm playing, and I read the starting defensive end, number 92. Guy's last name was Strahan. And I read the bio, and it said he was from Germany, and it said Texas Southern. I said, "Oh my goodness, that's that dude I saw my senior year in high school." And he was killing these dudes, and now he's a superstar in the league. By the time this came, so for Michael Strahan to say what he said about me, like again, I say he didn't have to say that. To me, it was big because, like I said, I've seen him since high school. I watched him dominate in college. And then my second year getting a chance to play against him and didn't know he was the same guy that I had watched my senior year in high school. Having him say, Michael Strahan is one of the biggest, hardest working guys in showbiz. You know what I mean? So to get an endorsement for him, man, it's pretty doggone cool. Along with Warren Sapp too. But with Strahan doing what he's doing and Jim, I gave Jim his number. I said, Jim, I'm not gonna call him and bug him. You guys can if you want to. And Jim did that, man. And Michael was I think on vacation and got us to it the last day. And it was just I couldn't believe it. So I'm forever grateful for what he said about me and my career.
Willie, for the record, I think he has Warren Sapp's number too, and Jimmy was just too afraid to call him.
Never know which Warren Sapp you'll get either. You never know. he can be up and down, man.
Willie, I'm sure you've answered this question 100 times before, but I'm going to put it up. Toughest battle you ever had is with the defender, or the guy who gave you the most trouble.
So, like, people would think I would say Reggie White, because, like I say, Reggie White was the strongest person I've ever come across in my life. I never played against anyone who was just as strong or stronger than I was, and I was just 23 years old. But, man, I'm going to tell you, man, the most nerve-wracking guy I've ever faced was a guy who was about 6'1". Reggie White, 6'6", 300. Michael Strahan, 6'5", 280. Julius Peppers, 6'7", 290. All these big behumpy guys. But the guy that gave me the most problems, headache-wise, was Robert Mathis. 6'1", 240 pounds. I was about 30 years old when I first saw him. And I was like, there's no way in the hell this guy is a defensive end in the NFL. Because, he and Freeney had just got to the league. We have never seen 6'1" defensive ends. They were like little bitty kids out there. But boy, I tell you, they did moves. They gave us moves and things that we've never seen before in our NFL time. I've seen Freeney and Mathis both give, several Hall of Fame tackles pure hell because we were so giant and so big that those guys were just able to duck under us. Mathis and I, we laugh all the time because he now in his lineman, he has a lineman academy too. He teaches an outside spin move. And at the time in 2005, I have never seen anyone do an outside spin move in my life. But only guys who were 6'1" are able to do it. If Peppers tried to do it, he tear his knee up. If one of the other big defensive ends, they hurt themselves doing an outside spin. But those guys came to the league at a time when the league was changing to an all quarterback league, and they were bringing guys from everywhere to come kill our quarterbacks. And those two guys were the new prototype, new defensive ends that were coming to the league to run old guys like myself out the league.
Awesome. Well, listen, we respect your time. It's got a couple more quick ones here for
no
you,
problem.
Willie. This is a current one. Who would you compare Joe Burrow QB style to? We're seeing a lot of people throwing out names: Montana, Brady. Curious what you think. What style do you think he compares to the most?
I know people don't want to hear this probably, but I'm saying it because this is more close to home to me. His moxie, everything he brought about himself. You think back when Marvin came to Cincinnati. We had John Kitna, who I call probably my best teammate ever. And when Marvin came in, old guys like myself, went to him and said, "Hey man, we don't need to draft a quarterback. We got John Kitna." And it was a guy like John Kitna who said, "Big Willie, that kid Carson Palmer is coming in here. I can't do any doggone thing he can do on the football field." He said, "If you guys want to take this team where you want to go to, you're going to need that kid Carson Palmer." And we got there quick. I hadn't seen that kind of quarterback play since I saw a little bit of Boomer at the end. Boomer kind of showed me what the command of a quarterback, how he can command a team and rally a team. The first person I saw that with. I saw Jeff Blake working hard behind the huddle and how hard Jeff Blake worked in practice. But I've never seen a guy like Carson with I never played with him. I played with a bunch of quarterbacks. I've never played with a guy who was that doggone talented and had the moxie. So in order for the Bengals, we all know the Bengals are. When the Bengals are down, we kind of need that guy back there at quarterback. Boomer was that guy. When Boomer was running the helm and winning chip, he was that guy. Kenny was that kind of guy. When Carson turned the Bengals around, he was that guy. He had that moxie. He had that guys kind of all, because he's a good dude, everybody wanted to see him do well. And I always say, I can tell when, linemen and players love their quarterback. Even, guys getting hit a lot, guys are ready to fight for him. Guys are ready to defend him. And to me, I've been saying the whole time, I can just tell. I never met Joe Burrow, but I can tell the way the guys around him react. If anybody hit him late, those guys are ready to ride for him because they know he's a good guy. And talent-wise, it's just out of this world, man. Like I say about Carson all the time. Carson, I came into the league when it was running the football, and we had some bad years early on, and it was just so tough to get the doggone ball down the field. But when Carson came, it was like boom, 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 boom. Oh, you mean tell me I can go block for like 5 plays now instead of 15 plays, and the ball be down the field within 4 or 5 plays? That's Joe, man. I mean, Joe, that has to give guys so much confidence to know that, hey, man, we can be down. Like I said at halftime of the day during the game, I tweeted, I said, Joe, let's show him our 2-minute Joe before 2 minutes. We all know the 2-minute drills. The Bengals are unbelievable before the half, and a lot of the Kansas City fans didn't know that. So I was like, Joe, let's go show him 2-minute Joe, and show him how explosive we are in the last 2 minutes. And that's what we do every game. And to see that, it's an unbelievable thing to watch that. So to me, he reminds me of what Carson did to help resurrect, the city of Cincinnati and Bengals football.
Cool.
Talking about another young player, Willie, and I don't think we talked about this the last time you were on. Obviously, the draft back in April was a hot debate of Penei Sewell on the line or Jamar Chase, who sat out a year, just like Penei Sewell did.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on Chase and the rookie year that he's having?
Well, you know, football people like myself, and there was a lot of football people. I saw Hugh Jackson, I saw TJ. We all said, you know, it seems most logical to get a lineman. But I'm now convinced now, you know, in today's football, that doggone explosive receiver, man. You know, you gotta, you know, you find there's an old gate to put up to protect Joe if you got to. I mean, but you know, put a gate around him or something. But if you can get somebody like number one out there, receiver, man, good gosh, like this. Come on, man. We've never seen this before in football. With guys being this doggone explosive as rookies, and so a lot of us were wrong, and it wasn't a slight against Jamar. You know what I mean? We didn't know, like God dog, like we didn't know this guy was gonna be this explosive. I mean, he's doing things. Come on, man. He's running out routes and just turning around, outrunning the whole damn defense. Like that's something Randy Moss was doing in '98, and we were always like losing our minds over because he was 6'5" doing it. Where Jamar's like a running back, you know. He can take these small passes and go to work. He can take deep passes, go to work. So, you know, a lot of us is wrong, you know, and I'm kind of glad I was wrong because it gave us nothing against Penei Sewell, but it gave us probably one of the all-time great, you know, receivers and quarterback combos, you know, ever in the history of football. And think about this. I was thinking about it the other day. Think about the receivers the Bengals have had, you know. I had a chance to watch Carl Pickens. I think Carl Pickens is super underrated as a receiver. Then to watch Carl come and then have Ocho come in, and I was in the beginning watching Ocho. You know, most likely, you know, we all think of the Hall of Fame guy. Then to watch AJ Green come in, and we've never seen anything like 6'3" AJ Green thing he was doing, Hall of Fame caliber guy. Now to watch this kid right here. I mean, the Bengals have been very fortunate and been blessed. You know, I mean, you know, for a lot of things that went wrong for a lot of years, to be able to have an opportunity to have, you know, a guy like Carson come first, and then come with Joe, and then come with the guys around him. Good God, like this is something gonna be good for a long, long time.
I think we were split 50-50 between Chase and Sewell, our group before here. But anybody who has any doubts, they're gone after this Sunday. That's
and everybody know it was a real civil war in Binghamton too. Like, it really was a civil war.
I don't think it was anything against Jamar Chase. It was the position. We were all so shell shocked and wanted Joe protected.
That's what it was.
You know that
nobody
was
wants to see Joe go down.
You know, it wasn't anything about Penei Sewell. It was he's a top lineman. We got to protect Joe. Nothing matters if he's not protected.
But like I say, in today's football now, I get it now. Hey, put the receivers out there and let's go to work. You guys remember the diagram they put on Twitter?
Yep.
Yeah.
With
the one showing Burrow on the ground.
Yeah.
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 Hey, we draw the diagram up now. Like it's something totally different now.
Yeah, just 3rd and 27 with the game on the line.
Everybody's open now. Everybody's open.
I think Dalton, our graphic artist, is watching the show. He'll probably have one tomorrow.
He'll probably have something.
Everybody's open because it seems like in the Bengals offense, everybody's open. Saying like, God, dog.
Jamie,
Tom,
you have one more from the
I got
fan?
one more fan question. I think Tom has one too. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Now that you're a finalist, what can we do? What can we do to help you get past is the fan vote still a thing? Are they listening to the fans?
No,
so
the fan votes, unfortunately, man, that I don't understand why they even put that out there. Because it has people thinking that the fans can help, and it really, you guys know, it really comes down to those guys in that room. It's going to come down to in about 2 weeks. Jeff Hobson is going to be my presenter, and Jeff has to go in. And before they did it in person, but now it's going to be a Zoom call. So we got to pray. We got to pray for Jeff Hobson, and hope
we need to make sure
I think Jeff will do a great job. I mean, Jeff's been doing a great job all along about getting myself and others inside the room. So I'm happy for him too that he gets a chance to talk to these guys about my career. And like I said, in about 2 weeks, they're going to do the presentation. And every guy has to get, I want to say, 80% of the votes. So it's going to come down to guys listening to Hobson and saying yay. You know what I mean? So let's just pray that they say yay and we get in the room. Like I said, but either way, it's a big accomplishment to get, you know, to the finals right now. And you know, either way, I think we're super close right now.
We have a special guest here that just connected.
Willie, what's going on, big dog?
There he is.
Hey, Willie, we love you. Bengals Nation's out here. We're going to be up in the Hall of Fame, man, when you get inducted, brother. We will be there in full force, buddy. I promise you that.
Hey, I appreciate it. So Jim, you're now 1-2 as the Ruler of the Jungle, right?
What?
That's right. I want to start a petition.
Hey, Willie, the Bengals won when you were the ruler, right?
All linemen.
Yeah, see?
With me, I think Max, yourself.
Yep. Hey,
I mean, so
Bob Johnson.
I got to tell everybody, I was a right tackle in middle school. That's why we got this shit done Sunday. We won it, Willie. Offense.
Yeah, that's why.
No doubt.
All right, Big Willie, we love you, big dog. Sorry I couldn't be there, man. We love you, man.
All right, bro.
Tom, you had a question?
Yeah, well done there, Jamie. Now, Willie, with moving forward, we'll be behind you. The one thing about that fan vote, we got to talk to them. It's a good thing you're going in this year because you deserve it. But whoever designed that fan vote, they had you in your Ravens uniform. I mean, that was just 1 year, not even one full year. So they got to fix that and get that done better. There we go.
How about so Jeff Hobson? So apparently Marvin knew, Jeff Hobson knew, but they weren't allowed to tell me that I had made the finals, right? So Hobson finally called me. He said, man, how about you being dead last? I said, hey, man, I wouldn't expect it, either way. Like when they named all the guys out, I was dead last. You know what I mean? And even during my time doing when I was playing for the fan votes, every year I made the Pro Bowl. I mean, every year I came in dead ass last every year. And so I always wanted to say, doggone, man, I'm coming in last. But fortunately for me, the players and coaches would always vote me in. I still remember guys who had I know guys who had a room full of their agents had a room full of voters and just had a whole big room that guys hired to go vote for themselves all day on the Pro Bowl. And guys would get like crazy amount of numbers of votes. And I was like, oh my God, man, this guy got like 500,000 votes. I got like 8,000. And every year I'll be so scared every year. And but the coaches and players always vote me in. And so I kind of overcame the fan voting. It's always funny,
Willie, we appreciate the time. I think again, I'm going to keep saying it. You alluded to it. The fans, are behind you, supporting you 100%. Kudos to the Bengals organization, to Jeff Hobson, and everything that the fans are doing on social media. They're doing it in the right way. They're positive. They're not, blasting any of the other candidates. And, this is exciting. I can only imagine what it is, the excitement for you. We saw some of that up in Canton, how emotional it was. And, now you're one step closer to home, and all of us, all of Bengal Nation are behind you 100%. So whatever we can do, please reach out, let us know. And before we let you go, we're going to bring on our next guest here real quick, Big Willie, and let him say hi to you.
What's up, Sid?
Hey, Big Willie, how you doing, man?
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. It's great to be. I'm honored to be on the same show with Big Willie now, number 71. He was the best. I mean, I bothered him all the time with interviews and stuff. Never turned me down. Big Willie's the best, and he's going to Canton. If he doesn't, I'm going to drive him there, and I'm going to get him in there. I don't care what they say. I'm gonna be that guy that knocks on his door when I knock on the door. That's going to be the Hall of Fame knock. I'm going to be the guy to do it.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
You're going to Canton, number 71. Don't worry about it.
Big man, my guy.
Willie, it's great to see you, man. It was an honor to watch you play. It was an honor to interview you, and an honor to be in in the media group when you played, man. I mean, I admired you. You were unbelievable out there, and you deserve to be right there in Canton, Ohio. We got to get Ken Anderson and Ken Riley in there, but you're going to be number 2 behind Anthony Munoz.
Man, I appreciate that, Seg, man. Love you, bro. I appreciate that a lot.
Same here, man. Same here.
Definitely, man.
All right, Willie. Well,
Willie,
thank you
thanks
so much for joining us, Big Willie. As always, again, anything we can do as Bengal Nation, let us know. And thank you so much for taking the time for joining us tonight.
It's always
feeling better.
I really appreciate what all you guys have been doing for me the last several years, man. It's warmed my heart. I appreciate it. My family and friends appreciate it. I even tell a lot of the old guys that are not social media, the things you guys have been doing for us and speaking up for us, and it's needed, man, because people, if we didn't say anything, people would forget about, Bengal players. And this current team, I think, is pushing it along, pushing the narrative along. And like I say, who they for the fans, man, and I'm loving everything. The stuff for myself, I'm loving it just as much as for the fans. People like you guys who've been helping me out so much. I'm appreciative. Love you guys. And who they?
Thanks, Willie. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well,
a great one.
Seg, how about that?
Great to talk with him, man. He is 71 forever, man. He was the best. I'm telling you, they've had great offensive linemen, and he's one of them, both on and off the field. And for media wise, he's right there.
He's just a genuine dude, eh? He's just a genuinely nice guy. He's just so easy to talk to, so humble, and I mean,
you like my security behind me?
Yeah, looks good.
I like
that's my security. That's my security. Don't be messing with me now. We'll come after you.
We're going to segue into that in a little bit, but for those that don't know, Seg, as we do have fans from all over the world that watch the show, and certainly fans from all over the country. 700 WLW, 50,000 watt flamethrower, as so kindly
Tim Brew
alluded to on air. So you've been there since 1978 in a era where people, I think, change jobs just as much as they change their underwear. Man, you've been there. Tell us about that the journey you've been on from Coleraine to 700 WLW since 78.
Yeah, it's been quite a roll. I started at a 10-watt radio station at Coleraine High School. It went off the air. I was on from 4 to 7. We went off the air at 7 o'clock, and I was playing records, and then got into this thing, and I thought, I used to listen to Andy McWilliams do hockey games, and I thought, man, if he gets paid by the word, he must be making like $1 million a night. So this radio thing must be pretty good. So I just kind of sat there and did this and that, and went to NKU, and out of NKU, we're sitting there one snowy day, and this Dr. Byron Renz, I'll never forget him. He was a professor. Nobody really liked him too much because he had those red flare pens, and you wrote out a nice paper, typed it out, and everything else. That thing would come back blood red, looked like it was bleeding. And I'm thinking, every punctuation, this and that, and everything. I'm thinking, come on, man. But one day he said that WLW is looking for somebody to type up sports on the weekend. And at the time, I was interning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at the Crew Tower and WCKY when it was there, working with two great news people in the city, Mark Neely and Don Herman. I was producing their traffic reports. Ted Florko was in an airplane. I was on the ground, and I would give him I would a two-way radio relay that. And then Dr. Renz one day said they're looking for somebody. I skipped school, went down there, and Bill Ridenour called me. The late Bill Ridenour, the news director then at 700 WLW, called me on a Saturday afternoon, I believe it was in the middle of September of 1978. And he said, you want to come work for us? I said, yes, sir. And been there ever since.
And the rest is history. Well, having been there since 78, you've seen certainly the ups and downs of the Cincinnati Bengals. But how does this team, this young team, led by Zach Taylor, and the excitement around it compare to what you saw with some of the previous successful teams?
I mean, it's nothing like it. I mean, when Boomer and Collinsworth and all those guys were here, and even Jeff Blake, when they were scoring 30, 40 points a game, it was exciting. But this is taking it to a gigantic level. I mean, this has been amazing with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Boyd and Higgins and the defense. And what they've done is Hendrickson and all those guys on the defense and adding these parts and pieces, and they're all coming together now as a team. And we got a winner in Cincinnati, and they've made the playoffs, and I think they made it, but they're going to make a run at it, I think.
You mentioned how gracious Willie Anderson was. And before I forget, just like we did with Willie, for any of our fans watching that have a question for Seg, type those in the chat and Jamie will get those on. But you mentioned how gracious Willie was.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got to meet a lot of great players over the years. Is there a particular player or story you would like to, or you can share tonight about just a fond memory that you have?
I remember I started covering the Bengals like in 1979. Forrest Gregg was coach, and I remember we had a big room down there at Spinney Field, which was spectacular at the time because the wind blowing, you either caught all the wind from the garbage can people or the Mill Creek going one way or the other. So it was kind of tough to breathe sometimes, but we would be in this big room, kind of like a meeting room, I guess, down at Spinney Field, and the door would open and the great late Paul Brown would walk in, and literally we would all stand up each and every time, no matter what time. And he said, "Gentlemen, just sit down, continue what you're doing." He went into another office and we continued, and we all sat down. It was like, I mean, it was royalty. It was royalty coming in. I mean, it was just, I'm a teenage kid, and there's Paul Brown, the father of football, walking right by me and saying hello. I mean, and then with all these other guys, Boomer and Chris and the late Turt Schonert, and I mean, there's just hundreds and hundreds of players. Joe Walter. I mean, all the offensive linemen were great. I kind of got along with the people with the guys that no other media wanted to talk to. I remember talking to Carl Pickens every so often, and he would lay on ground in the locker room. I would be sitting in his locker with the microphone and then hand it down to him on the floor, and then he would give it back to me during the interview. And Darnay Scott would be sitting next to me laughing as you know what off. And I got along. Nobody else wanted to talk to Corey Dillon. I just went up and started firing questions to him. They said, "How do you do that?" I said, "You just walk up and talk to them. That's all you got to do." I mean, what are they going to, what's going to happen? They're going to tell me no, and then I'll walk off and go get somebody else. But it's been magical. I remember one day walking down there, and Jim McNally was the offensive line coach genius, was there, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I pop my head in and say hello. He grabbed me by the arm and stood there for 10 minutes running this one play back and forth. Now watch this guy, watch that guy, look at that tackle, watch this guard, watch this. And I mean, it was just magical moments down there at Spinney Field and everything else. And then it continued into Riverfront Stadium, and then, to Paul Brown Stadium.
Well, thank you. That's that Paul Brown story is one we haven't heard yet on the show. So thank you for sharing that. And I can just picture that. I can just picture like the president of the United States.
We literally, Forrest Gregg was we were asking him questions and all this stuff, and literally it would stop when Paul Brown would come in the room, and every one of our media guys would stand up. I mean, it was like the president of the United States coming into a media room or something. I mean, it was just and to see him, I mean, one of the fathers of pro football come in the room, and you're just standing there as a kid, as a teenager, and you're going, "Holy cow, there's Paul Brown." I mean, it's like, it's like indescribable. It's just, to see a guy like that and a legend, and he'd kind of nod his head and how you doing, sir, and everything else. And we'd move on. It was really something.
Tom, you had a question?
Yeah, Seg, you're pretty well respected yourself. here in
Thanks.
town. Certainly loved by all of us fans, and I know respected by all the sports teams. But for the Bengals, you mentioned some names, and certainly you've got to work with Chris and Boomer and Dave
Yeah.
Lapham and many
Yeah.
other guys through the years. Were there certain players or certain coaches that you really liked to talk to? They were funny. They looked to talk to you, just would relax and talk about whatever. Maybe something you couldn't repeat on the radio, a secret play or whatever. But I mean, certain coaches or anything like that, you had a really good relationship with.
Yeah, I got to know Jim Anderson very well, the great running backs coach of the Bengals. He was he would want to go to Reds games, and I got him tickets, and we started up a conversation here and there and different stuff and everything, and I got we had a good time talking to each other, and then all the other coaches. I mean, it was Pat McAnally and you just kept acquiring names, and then all of a sudden they get more guys in, and you just go up to them and say, hey, you got a minute or something like that. But I would say probably Jim Anderson at the top of the list. And we used to do a show on every Wednesday morning, or sometimes every Wednesday night, taping it with Chris Collinsworth and Boomer Esiason. Now Chris would be here in Cincinnati, and Boomer would be in New York. Well, we would be on time, but as we found out, the media always runs on quarterback time, which means we don't start anything until the quarterback is ready. That's like that's like the NFL. Can't do anything until the quarterback's ready. Well, Boomer would be calling, I'm stuck in the Holland Tunnel in traffic. I'll be there in 45 minutes. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Here I am. And now you couldn't do well. One, you couldn't put those two guys together in the same place anymore. And two, you'd break the bank on trying to pay those guys money these days. But those were kind of magical things. And then just getting to know all those players over the years, and just countless, I never went into this business like thinking like, I mean, I'm going to cover sports, but here these guys know me and they say hello and everything else. And I'm going, this is the greatest. I mean, it's been the greatest to cover every Cincinnati team, and the Bengals are second to none. I mean, it's really something. I mean, it really is something.
He had an up and down relationship with the media, but what was it like to talk and deal with Sam Wyche?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because one year we were having a little trouble with Sam. Didn't like what we were saying about him on the broadcast and this and that. So I remember Mike Dodd, who was with the Cincinnati Enquirer years ago. He went to USA Today when it first started out as their national pro football writer. And I'm standing there one day, and he said, he caught me aside. He said, Seg, he says, what's it like being down here? And Sam Wyche doesn't like what you guys are saying. We've been saying that we're going to fly our traffic helicopter over practice and send the tapes over to the other team each week, and that drove him nuts. And this and that. And I'm going, our traffic copter can't do that. I mean, only like James Bond could do that, and this and that. We got people up on the, what was it, the 8th or 6th Street Viaduct. Right. We got somebody up there taking pictures of each play during practice. We're going to send it out. It drove him nuts. So I made the comment to Mike Dodd. He said, what's it like being down here when, you're having trouble with a coach? And I said, well, I feel like a Nazi spy in the D-Day meetings. and I thought, well, it was a pretty good line at the time. So I sit there, and all of a sudden I'm about a day or two later, I walk out, and just before I hit the door at Spinney Field, Sam Wyche yells my name. And I turn around and said, hey, Sam, what's going on? I said, good to see you. How you doing? He says, you're the last guy on earth that I thought would stab me in the back. Ooh. And I thought, what are you talking about? He says, go look at the USA Today paper today. He said, that is unbelievable. And I thought, what the heck is he talking about? So I go up, I get the USA Today, when it was an actual paper that you got every day, looked up about the second or third page in the NFL. There's like that gray box that they put little features in. Well, you know what? There's my quote right there in the middle of it. And I thought, geez, oh, Pete. I said, I'm not talking to anybody else anymore. I'm done. So that was a quick story. But after about a week, he started goofing around with me again and everything else. So I don't know. It just, he was something else. I remember I got called into his office one day. Al Heim, God bless him, the longtime PR man years ago, he said, Sam wants to see you. I said, okay. I said, now, I'm thinking, well, I might get a, comment or two from the, one-on-one with the coach. It's not bad. Walked in and I said, hey, Sam, what's going on? He turned around. He had his glasses down like this. And he's going, I don't want my name on your station. I don't want to be mentioned here. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing because you guys are this and that and everything else. And I go, okay. So, so I went back to the station. They said, don't worry about it. Everything will be covered. He said, I'm going to sue you guys and everything else. And about 2 weeks later, it was like forgotten, like it never happened. So I don't know. It just, that's the perils of Spinney Field. That's what that is. So there's a couple of quick ones from Sam Weiss. So,
that's awesome.
I think Jamie's. Yeah,
we have a question from Craig here. How did it come to be called the Stooge Report?
You know what? I don't know. I think Willie came up with that it was like the Three Stooges or something. So I think that's where that came from. That's the origin. Cunningham came up with that we were kind of being goofy and that, like the Three Stooges. We weren't hitting each other in the head with shovels or nothing, but it was, it was just, I think that's the origin of it. And actually the Stooge Report came about because I did high school football scores on Friday night. And that's, and those, that show on Friday night where I gave the score and he gave the nickname of the team when most of the time it was wrong. And it drove people nuts. That's where the Stooge Report all evolved from. And now it's what it is today.
Cool. And noticing your cardboard cutouts there behind you, this one is probably fitting. Who's going to win the Daytona 500 this year?
Well, I don't think my security guy, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, you might as well go with the hottest guy on the planet and Kyle Larson, because I think Kyle Larson could win the Daytona 500 riding a big wheel. I mean, that guy is, two wheels. He could win on a unicycle, maybe. I mean, one wheel, two wheels, four wheels, 8 wheels. It doesn't make any difference. Kyle Larson can drive anything he wants and win. So I'm going to go with him, and he's got a good sponsor here locally, and with Cincinnati Incorporated out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and they give that's how they make all their parts and stuff with that equipment. So he's got Cincinnati on his car, and I'll take him any time of the week.
Awesome.
So Jamie stole my thunder. We always like to kind of go off topic. We see the Intimidator back there. We see the King. I think you were in heaven the day Jerry Carroll announced the Kentucky Speedway was being built. After all those years, they got they've got the NASCAR race. We know how important racing is, and certainly a love aside from the ball and stick sports. So who was your favorite race car driver of all time? Was it one of those two gentlemen back there? Is it somebody up the road where I am here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's
raced at the Brickyard.
Yeah, James, that's a tough one. I mean, I never got to meet Dale Earnhardt. I wish I would have, and I wish I got to talk to him a few years ago. I've talked to Richard Petty and I've talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and people like that. But the first guy I got to give credit to get me into this sport was Bobby Rahal, the '86 winner of the Indianapolis 500, because we went up there with Bob Trumpy's sports talk show, and he gave me the bug. I have to give him credit for giving me the bug, but the whole racing world is. I wish that how they treat the media and how they are so accessible in racing, they can do this in other sports. They could do it in football. They could do it maybe in baseball. It's a different vibe, but these folks are so gracious because, I mean, and you can't, 5 minutes before something happens, you can't go get a guy, but if you're patient and all that stuff, you do it. And it's just I wish that some of the sports would take what racing does and apply it to their sport. And I think the world would be a much better place. But, Bobby Rahal, I mean, when we used to do our show on radio for about 30 years, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, every year we had the Indy 500 winner on for about 30 years, and NHRA winners and just anybody that won, we'll take them. And I kept telling them, I said, we'll take the last place guy. I don't care. I mean, we just want to get we just want to get somebody on, and everybody has been, that sport is so gracious, and they know what's going on, and they'll have their guys call, and it makes you, it makes you look good. That's one thing, but there's been so many. I mean, the IndyCar guys, the NHRA guys, NASCAR, and a shout out to all the fine public relations and media relations folks that they have, that you go through to get to them and to call in. I mean, it's every one of them is a champion in my book.
Seg, with you covering so many Bengal teams, like you mentioned, really started about the time Forrest Gregg came, so probably overlapped a little bit with Homer Rice. What's your feeling about our current group? Because you're still down there. I mean, so many fans, this seems like a special group of guys. They're easy to root for. They bust their butt for the city, civically, not just on the field. They're talented. And, I've said, and some people get upset with me, but if everything stays the same and Joe Burrow stays healthy, I think he's going to ascend the Mount Rushmore of Cincinnati sports. I mean, Anthony Munoz, Ken Anderson, Oscar Robertson, Rose Bench, he could be above them all. Do you sense, like so many of us, not just this year, we may even be a little bit, thankfully, ahead of schedule, that we're entering an era or, a decade or a football generation of something very special to come?
I believe so. I mean, the staff that Zach Taylor's put together, Brian Callahan and Lou Anarumo and all those guys like that down there. Mark Duffner is there. Jim McNally's helping them out still. The old guard's meeting the new guard. I mean, Darren Simmons has been there for years as a special teams guy. He's elite. And like you said, I mean, they've got an excellent group down there now of coaches. And I mean, way back when, you had like a coach here and a coach there. You might have had maybe 8 coaches. It seems like now that Zach Taylor's got about 35 people on his staff. But that's how football has evolved. I mean, he's got a great staff, and I think you're right. I think now that I think with the success of the Cincinnati Bearcats this year, and with the Bengals now, I mean, I talked the other day. I said, what if the Bearcats would have upset Alabama on that game in the Cotton Bowl, and then the Bengals would have won this game Sunday, how they did it against the Chiefs? I mean, this town would be going cuckoo. I mean, it'd be off the charts trying to the enthusiasm and stuff. But I think it's all started with the Cincinnati Bearcats, and it's run over now to the Bengals. And hopefully, if baseball gets figures out how much everything's going to cost or whatever, maybe it'll run over to the Reds, and with Xavier and UC and college basketball and stuff around here, it might be hopefully we'll turn into a city of winners instead of the way it's been.
Well, Seg, we appreciate you joining us. I loved the Paul Brown stories. You've been a legend here in Cincinnati radio, going back.
Well, thank you.
Almost as long as I've been alive. So,
okay, well, guys, I appreciate it. When Bengal Jim told me to be on tonight, I thought, how am I going to do this Zoom thing? I thought I had to get a satellite dish on the house and this and that and everything else, and call 3 different trucks. And he said, no, you just do it on your phone. And I said, what? And he sent me this link, and I'm thinking, technology is incredible today, man. But I really appreciate you guys having me on, and hoo day to everybody, hoo day. And hey, you want me on again? I'll bring you some more stuff.
Love to have you on.
Hey, Seg, before you go, Jamie, who is above me, is from Canada. Can you give him the score of the Blue Jackets game?
Well, hang on a minute. I was watching that one. I'm watching LSU in Kentucky. That's a 2-point game. Let's see. The Blue Jackets were losing 4-2 late in the second period.
Go back to the Kentucky game.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. That game's over.
So I'm sitting here watching. I'm sitting here talking to you, trying to watch the hockey game and the basketball game at the same time. So it's 5-2 starting of the third period in Columbus there.
Yeah, you might as well change the channel. It's over. Yeah.
See you guys. Who Day, man. Who Day. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Take care.
Whoa! No one needs to see that close up there.
There we go. There we go. Well, what a special night! I'm glad Jimmy was able to join us and having Willie on.
Luke's throwing some shade at Jimmy here in the chat.
Yeah, occasionally.
We're just kidding. We love you, Jimmy. We love you.
Does he have his car?
People were joking at the start of the show that Jimmy got Fan of the Year and then King of the Rule of the Jungle, so he was too good to come on his own show.
He's gone beyond it. I'm worried. I don't think he's left the riverfront since the game Sunday.
I think he's been at the stadium the whole
wandering
time.
around down on the bank.
Just down there signing autographs. Speaking of that, we'll just, for those that are local, you might have tuned in today. He was on 1071, and I believe you have a clip you want to
we got the whole clip.
share,
You want to do that one, and then we want to play the walk as well?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Since we're just making Jimmy's head big, let's go ahead and play the radio clip now.
All right, here we go.
Cincinnati's #1 in music station, Kiss 1071. John and friends. People, it's real. He's here. The Fan of the Year. Bengal Jim. Who Day, baby. Who Day. Jimmy Foster is in-house, and I had to bat people away, including Seg at 700. Everybody trying to steal him away from me. He was the ruler of the jungle this past week, and I still give him credit for getting us in the playoffs.
I'm not taking any credit for that. No way. That was a fun day Sunday for sure.
Oh, man. And that's what we're going to delve into. And leading up into the playoffs, of course, we got the Browns to deal with on Sunday next weekend.
It's the city up north.
No, I'm sorry.
I say that.
Right out of the gate. I know better than that. The city up north, longest running tailgate in Cincinnati. It's Bengal Jim, and what he's done for nonprofits, organizations, just what you guys. Sarah's gone down there. Sarah, at least she's going to have to stop in here. She wouldn't leave me alone about this yesterday. So she'll be in here all around incredible Cincinnati. And Bengal Jim here to hang with me on John and Friends today.
So thank you to Tony the Tiger for sending us that clip. And in that picture there, I think I have a still shot of it, is the AFC North champions hat. I know a lot of people went down to the pro shop today and got some of the new swag. You can see the Bengals run the North. I thought that was a cool shirt. Typically I think some of the old ones just said AFC North champions. Yep. That was kind of a cool play. Probably Elizabeth Blackburn thought of that, and just something outside the box than your traditional shirts. Tom, have you run down to Cooks or the pro shop yet and got your flag and picked it up for Jamie and I, or what?
As you guys have seen me 99% of the time, I've certainly got an assortment of Bengal swag, and my family took very good care of me, as they always do at Christmas too, more dad hats and so forth. And I have always had division championship shirts, AFC champion shirts, and worn them till they were rags. I'm waiting for that one that's a Super Bowl champion. And trust me, I'll get plenty of Bengals. I mean, they know me on a first name basis at the pro shop. But I'm looking forward, and whether it's this year, it very well could happen. I think it's going to happen several times over this next decade. We'll be going to the pro shop with Cincinnati Bengals and the Lombardi Trophy.
I tried to order it, but unfortunately, it doesn't ship to Canada till the end of January. So I'm hopeful the restrictions don't get too crazy, and I can just come down and buy it myself at the playoffs.
So Tony sent us the clip. We're going to change gears because we know we're kind of in our time slot, and I think Jimmy will pull the plug on us and kick us all off. I don't have a picture of this, but a couple years ago, Jimmy, along with as many accolades, was voted into the Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association went up to Canton. They're very instrumental in what happens at Hall of Fame weekend, do a lot for charity as well. Well, this past Sunday, another one of our regulars and friends at the tailgate, Tony the Tiger, Tony Brooks, Anthony Brooks, was presented with his card as a nominee. So much like Willie Anderson is a nominee to go into the Hall of Fame, Tony the Tiger got his nomination to go into the Ultimate Fan. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to Tony for that. As we talk about every show, Tony's so instrumental on what we do for our charity work. You see him going around the tailgate, him and his wife, Carrie, collecting money for our fundraisers. There's a great picture. Good job, Jamie. Look at Jamie. Isn't it great to have Jamie back as the producer? You can see Tony there with his draft card. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Tony on that. And speaking of that,
he's a shoo-in.
Our charity, we said the last 2 weeks we are donating the funds to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, which is tied into the Boomer Esiason Foundation. We were going to do that drawing tonight. Logistically, it didn't work out, so we're going to do it next Tuesday. You still have time to donate. Those that were there, we had a Tyler Boyd autographed helmet that we raffled off to a gentleman on Sunday. But in the last couple of weeks, we've raised just under $4,000 for the Boomer Esiason Foundation. So there's still a time to donate. You can go online. We'll share a link. If Jimmy's watching, he can share that in the chat. I'll also try to do that in the chat. So again, trying to reach that $50,000 goal for charity this year. We're getting close. I believe we're over 45,000. We do have the home playoff game, and season's not over yet. Hopefully I have 5 more weeks going into February to do that. So if you haven't donated, everybody's been so gracious this year. Let's do that. I'll put a link in the chat. And now going back to our fan of the year, ruler of the jungle, radio celebrity, TV celebrity. What else am I forgetting, guys? Anything else?
Just all around good guy.
Just all around good guy. Cincinnati. I think next, once all this is done, I think he's going to run for mayor of Cincinnati.
Dude, when he took my friends around, giving a little tour, we're hitting bars and stuff like that. People were yelling out from across the street, "Bengal Jim!" and they're running across to get a photo with them. Like it was, I felt like I was walking with.
Nobody understands as much as Jimmy loves the Bengals, and like us, he lives and breathes them and thinks about them and is worried about them and their security. Above and beyond that, Jimmy's a fan of the city of Cincinnati.
100%.
I mean, if
he is an ambassador for sure.
He's not working on a Saturday, he and his wife Trish find a place to park downtown, and we'll walk across the bridge into northern Kentucky, try a couple restaurants, go to certain shops, walk back. I mean, I'm not just talking for a couple hours. I'm like 9 in the always stops at the pro shop, always stops at Cook's from like 9 in the morning till they're done with dinner, if not later than that. He loves the community.
For sure. Before, I know we're getting late on time. This was a cool graphic. I just want to share. NFL did this, and there's a lot of nicknames floated out there, but I think this Joey franchise one is by far the best.
Now we got the
shoulders.
We got the money Mac versus what do they want to call it now? Shooter McPherson.
Shooter McPherson, absolutely.
Shooter McPherson. So
is it not Fat Randy? I like that one too. But
how perfect that Joey franchise tag though. How perfect is that his nameplate got ripped off in the fourth quarter, like just to create that image.
Well, I was, I had a couple drinks before at the tailgate, and all of a sudden I'm looking up and I was like, when the hell's his name tag? Did he have to change jerseys? And somebody's like, no, I got ripped off in a sack, whatever, third or fourth quarter. So that was unique. You don't see that often in the NFL. There's one more video we want to share with you, but before we do that, again, and we like to joke around, but kudos to Jimmy for the fan of the year and the opportunity to rule the jungle. A lot of ex-players up there, a lot of other Cincinnati people have had that honor to do that this year, and Jimmy was the first fan that had the opportunity to do that. So about 11:45 on Sunday, as we're all partying, doing Bengal bombs, courtesy of Beer Fest Craig, and 16 lots was flowing, courtesy of our buddy Dell. The staff, or the ruler of the jungle, was brought over to the stadium. So we have a picture here. Tom looks a little shocked, but you can see there's like a engraved tiger in that staff, and we were fortunate enough to get our picture with it, right, Tom?
That was because Jimmy was about 7 feet away from us, pointing, mouthing, "That's mine." But
yeah.
But yeah, no, that was cool. We stole that from the ruler of the jungle for a minute, and it can verify that we were the rulers of the tailgate for about a good 15 seconds.
As everybody knows, our tailgate typically goes to about 12:30, 12:45.
Yep.
Last minute possible. As you know, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump into the stadium. Well, because of all the festivities and ceremonies, as I said, that staff was brought down about 11:45, and we did one last toast. We did one last Bengal bomb, and then the Bengals fans gathered behind Bengal Gym and made the march to the stadium. And Jamie, go ahead and share the video on that.
See, I think what I like most about that clip is the fan safety, that you waited for the flashing guy to show up to cross the road.
We had like the staff. It was made us immune from any cars that were.
It was like Moses. They just parted. Like the Red Sea, it just parted. And he led Bengals fans through the desert of 33 years to our first playoff victory after clinching a division title.
So you saw a lot of our regulars there, Luke and Brandon. I want to give a shout out to Brandon. We talked about the charity being cystic fibrosis. Brandon from Portsmouth, everybody knows Brandon Hanna. He jumped in the beautiful Ohio River on Saturday to raise funds for for cystic fibrosis. Yeah, easy for me to say. So thank you to Brandon for doing that. Awesome. But it was a fun Sunday, Tom. I know we were kind of throwing a lot in here. What else did I forget about from that epic day?
Well, we didn't get into the game. It was down. It was down early. I know the three of us when there are frustrating moments. Jimmy, the constant optimist. Had Jimmy been on the Titanic. He'd have been telling everybody, not to worry here. Take one of our ducks from our Bengal regatta. It'll keep you afloat. There's nothing.
Don't worry. There's going to be lots of ice. Lots of ice.
Yeah, lots of ice around, but don't worry. Just hold on to your duck. But Jimmy does not chime in. But I know that the three of us will occasionally bring an observation to each other. Jamie gets pestered all the time because if he's home in Canada with they're challenging that. Was that really a catch, or did he make the first down because he's got the TV? But certainly at first I was nervous because I thought if the Bengals were going to win, they would have to get the lead early. I thought going up against Mahomes, it would be really difficult to play from behind. But these are, everybody's got to realize, starting with this guy, these are different Bengals, and they win it at halftime. The first guy I'm going to compliment is Lou Anarumo, because he came out with a plan in the second half. He blitzed at the right times. He kept Mahomes, I don't want to say confused, but made it tough for him to do his job. And you keep the Kansas City Chiefs to 3 points and a half. The guys were playing their butts off. I know the cornerbacks really, really played well in that second half, covering things up. And while there weren't any sacks, they got pressure on him with the right styles of blitzes and gave the offense a chance to come back in. I mean, Jamar Chase, I really hope the tape of that game is not shared with any other coach in the league, because I'll give it away right now. How in the hell do you only put one guy on Jamar Chase? And granted, if you do, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, C.J. Uzama are all, one of them is going to be open. You can't cover them all. So it's part of what makes this team fun. And in the long history of this franchise now, that will be a game to remember. Knocking off the number one seed in the AFC at the time, the Super Bowl favorite, gone to the last two Super Bowls, and doing it the way they did with our quarterback having the day that he did. So can't say enough about the job Zach Taylor and his staff have done this year.
I guess one of the most important questions I haven't asked yet was Jackson Mahomes there? Was he in attendance?
Yeah, complaining because he didn't have 50-yard line front row club seats or something. Jeez, between him and Patrick's girlfriend, whatever, fiance,
wife, yeah,
on social media, yeah, there's some beauties. But Tom, you kind of touched on this, and it made me think. I think Jamie, you were at the Jacksonville game. Weren't we down 14 at half?
Yep.
And we're down 11 at half this time, and it just with Joe back there at quarterback, it seems despite the deficit that we can pull back and be in it. We saw that in the Chargers game with an opportunity to came back from whatever we were down with the ball in Chargers territory to take the lead. Obviously we had the fumble, it didn't happen, but don't want to see those big holes dug for our offense to get us out of. But with Joe back there, anything's possible, and excited. I thought the comment from Willie Anderson was interesting earlier about keep that momentum, play the guys, and let's have that momentum going into the playoffs. And as we know, first place isn't out of reach in the AFC. Certainly, we need some cards to fall right. And that would be, awesome if we did get the bye, but that's certainly on the table as well. So as we wrap up, we'll probably get our pay deducted big time tonight. So since we're 15 minutes
whoa, you guys are
over.
getting paid? You guys are getting paid?
You're not?
Yeah, that's a talk for off the air.
Yeah. The lucrative media business. We should have talked to Seg about that. But go ahead and wrap it up for us, Jamie.
Yeah, like we were just talking, it feels different, and I think for me that 3rd and 27 out of field goal range, and you convert it, you make that play, and go down the field to win the game. That's the 10 cents in Canadian. Craig says that's the. That just shows you the difference of this team, and James, I think you were on this thread today. Shout out to Houday Nation, our friends there. There was a post today about the excitement around the swagger of Joe Burrow and what he brings to the city and what he brings to the team. But don't think for a second people are not going to want to come and play in Cincinnati. I mean, that's one of the knocks that this team has had for a long time, is who wants to go play in Cincinnati. A lot of people are going to want to come and play in Cincinnati, and I think that swagger that Joe brings, and the fact that we have so many weapons, like what do? You double team Chase? Okay, you got Higgins, you got Boyd, you got Uzama. Like this team, this is going to be, like we're talking with Seg, this could be a decade of winning culture, winning football in Cincinnati. So this is definitely a time to be a fan, and I cannot wait. I don't care about next week. I want that playoff win. I want that playoff. I want to watch James cry. I'm going to hold you to it, brother. Tom?
Well, you mentioned that, Jamie. A quick story. DJ Reader basically had the same offer from the Broncos that he had gotten from the Bengals. The Bengals was a little bit higher. And when his agent called him and said, you said you wanted to decide, here now are the two offers. And his agent said, well, what do you think? And DJ said there was a long pause on the phone. He said, well, you can go to Denver and play with Drew Lock, or you can go to Cincinnati and play with Joe Burrow. And he said, call Cincinnati, tell them I'm coming. Awesome. So, but yeah, I think there will be a lot of that. And as special as this year has been, I think an era that's going to be even greater is coming. So, but thank you to the fans, and thank you for everybody in the Bengals organization who worked their tails off. And we have not commented on who maybe we grumble about when things are bad. The front office, there'll be a lot of accolades, I think, coming their way, Duke Tobin and so forth. But, God, Willie Anderson is my all-time favorite Bengal. I wanted them to draft him, followed his career, cheered for him. Just a great, classy guy. He means a lot to my son. If we're going to play guys Sunday, it's got to be like the fourth preseason game, maybe a series, maybe a quarter. As Bengal fans, we're trained for that giant shoe to drop on us. And I'm paranoid. I'm overcautious. I don't think that number one seed is realistic enough. I think we're going to end up with either New England or Indianapolis, which will be more for us to talk about next Tuesday. But all I can say is, if everybody's getting worked up about haters or this guy saying this or this national media guy saying that, enjoy it. This is such a fun group, such an easy group to cheer for. Enjoy this special group, with the talent that's been assembled and the job that the coaching staff is doing it. And let's enjoy the wave. Whatever happens Sunday happens. The focus will be the weekend following, either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday night.
Hopefully Saturday,
James.
Early game. All right, thanks Tom and thanks Jamie. It's been a fun week. It started with Jimmy's honor to rule the jungle, locking up the AFC North. I know Jimmy was pretty ecstatic from all the calls, text, private messages on the Facebook page that he received. So thank you to all the fans out there that sent him a note. He was pretty overwhelmed, and it was great to see. Craig, Beerfest Craig did those fat heads a lot of people had on the walk to the stadium. You saw it over the tunnel when Joey franchise was leaving. So that was cool. Thanks to Craig for putting those together. And thank you to our guest tonight. Great timing having Willie on. So much time and effort was put into the jungle to the hall, from what the Bengals done, of what Jeff Hobson's done, and what you, the fans, have done. So thank you to all that. It seems like it's all coming to fruition now. We're not done, but let's keep pushing that towards the finish line. Seg came on. Another thank you to him for joining us. I think we've run the full gamut at 700 WLW, and still more of those folks that we'd like to have on. And Jamie's going to try to come down for this playoff game in 10, 12 days, if possible.
Man, the restrictions are crazy, so we'll have to see. I do not want to
miss it. We'll see. But if you do need tickets, you can go online and order them. I said earlier in the show, Paul Brown Stadium was loud. It was packed. We're definitely going to need that for the first playoff game, especially if we play the Colts. Buy those tickets now. It's going to be a short drive for Colts fans to come down and fill up the seats at Paul Brown Stadium. So if you haven't got your playoff tickets yet, you can go get those. Call the box office. Go online, get those. Let's pack Paul Brown Stadium. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. AFC North champions. I think if you look back at when we started the year, I think we were just looking at 500. A lot of us would have been happy, but 10 wins and to win the AFC North, we're ahead of schedule. Now let's get that playoff monkey off our back and get the W. Wrap the guys in bubble wrap this weekend in Cleveland. Yes. Let's get out of there healthy. Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Hoo day.
Hoo day.
Hoo day.
Hoo day.